Welcome to CryptosRUs. I am George. Today I want to talk about this phenomenon that seems to happen all the time, and that is when good Bitcoin news comes out, Bitcoin actually dips. And I hear it all the time. I see it all the time. I've been in this space for quite a while, and I've been seeing this, but I'm wondering why. Not me, but I'm wondering why a lot of people are still surprised by this, right? Why is this continuing on? And, there's a lot of people that always have a lot of uncertainty and fear whenever this occurs. So in today's video, I want to talk about this phenomenon of Bitcoin dipping, right? Why is it not going to the moon every time there's good news out, right? And hopefully this helps educate you guys on this topic. So I do have to start from the beginning and talk about how Bitcoin is bought. It's different than you and I. There's a way to buy from the exchanges and there's a way to buy from OTC, over the counter, and it's very different. And then I'm going to cover how these whales play games and manipulate you and cause fear and uncertainty and doubt, FUD, and that is why you have these questions, right? Why does Bitcoin dip when good news comes out, right? All right, so let's get started. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and let's do this. So yesterday, this was pretty big news. So I want to refer to a couple big news. The one from yesterday was pretty enormous. Mass Mutual Insurance, they have joined the Bitcoin club. They picked up FOMO and they bought $100 million worth of Bitcoin out of the blue. And not only that, they put a $5 million equity stake in this company that's called NYDIG, which is kind of like a baby brother to Grayscale. They help institutions buy Bitcoin. So they not only took an equity stake in that company, but they also purchased $100 million. Now, Mass Mutual has been around for over 150 years. They have 235 billions of assets. So they're very, very, very large company. Someone that's been out for a while, right? So when this came out, I created a video. And of course, Bitcoin did not skyrocket. As it sits now, Bitcoin is a little bit under 18,000. And I see the comments. People are like, so why is the price not pumping? Why is Bitcoin not going to the moon if this is such good news, right? And of course, Mass Mutual is just the latest institution to FOMO in. Of course, we've heard of MicroStrategy, who keeps buying and buying and buying. They're raising more debt to buy Bitcoin. And we have heard of other companies like Square, PayPal, and a whole lot others that are getting into Bitcoin. So why does Bitcoin not go to the moon? Why does it not skyrocket? Why does it still dip? Okay, so let me talk about the ways to buy Bitcoin and how institutions and whales, to some extent, operate. So for those of you guys that aren't aware, there are two kind of places that you could go to. There are exchanges or OTC, over the counter. Exchanges is what you and I use, and for most part, some of the smaller whales that are driving things up and down. So exchanges is just a place where you can go. There's people that basically want to sell or buy. They list a price, and if they find someone else on the exchange, great, the transaction happens. If you want to sell Bitcoin at $18,000, you could put a bid for that, right? And or you could put an ask for it and someone else could bid for it. It's that simple, right? The exchange it's a middle service that basically operates on behalf of a lot of buyers and sellers, and that's it. Now, of course, when you have massive buys or massive sells on exchanges, that's go have an effect, right? This is how some whales are able to manipulate the price, because they do large buys or sells. And I'm going to go over some of the other ways they can do this too on these exchanges, and it causes panic and FUD or maybe FOMO, right? So they do this often. However, institutions, the ones that have billions upon billions upon billions of dollars, like Mass Mutual, they don't mess with this. If they're buying large amounts of Bitcoin, they go to OTC. And they usually go to a place called OTC Desk. Basically, it's a company that facilitates buyers and sellers. Everything that operates within OTC is between two parties and no one else knows what's going on. Okay? So if there is a seller, let's just say a seller of a large amount of Bitcoin, 100 million or 200 million, right? The desk will try to help them find a buyer. And then the buyer comes in and says, hey, how much you want to sell it for? I'll sell it for 18,000, right? The whole lot, that's it. Okay, done deal. The buyer buys it. So someone like Mass Mutual, with the help of NYDIG, that is what they do. They basically come up with a price and they settle, that's it. Then no one else knows. It doesn't affect the order books or the prices or anything like that on the exchanges. And most of these institutions, if not all of them, are buying on or with the OTC market, right? They're not doing so on they're not doing it on open exchanges. So this is the reason why you don't see an immediate price pump right away, right? When someone dumps 100 million into Bitcoin, this is the reason why you don't see Bitcoin shoot up like 1,000 points, because they're doing it through the OTC market, right? Which is meant to keep things stable. Keep in mind, if you're a company, you're an institution, you're trying to buy $100 million worth of Bitcoin, you don't want to be buying on the way up. You don't want to be placing orders, and you watch it go up and up and up in price, because then you're getting less of it. You want to buy as much as you can, right, with a stable price, with a set price that doesn't move. And that's what the OTC market provides, right? That is why they're doing that. So to give you a couple examples, MicroStrategy, right after they purchased their $425 million of Bitcoin, it turns out that Coinbase helped them do so, right? So take a look at this article. It was actually Coinbase Prime, which is basically an OTC unit of Coinbase, and they help a lot of big institutions and really wealthy investors and help them buy Bitcoin. So the $425 million worth of Bitcoin, that was done through Coinbase Prime. So look at this quote. Using our advanced execution capabilities, leading crypto prime brokerage platform, and OTC Desk, we were able to buy a significant amount of Bitcoin on behalf of MicroStrategy, and did so without moving the market. That is the biggest thing, the biggest point. They did so without moving the market. They do not want to move the market. When institutions get in, they do not want to move the market. I know that seems counterintuitive, because most of us, if we buy, we want to see the price go up immediately. But when they're buying is such a large amount, they already have planned, like, okay, I plan on buying 10,000 Bitcoins or 5,000 Bitcoins or 20,000 Bitcoins. I want to buy it at this price. They don't want to be buying and see the price go up. They already have a plan in place. So that is why they go to OTC Desk, OTC Market, and they want to keep things stable. This is why when Mass Mutual purchased 100 million, it was announced yesterday, there wasn't a sudden pump. And Square did the same thing. Square, on a smaller extent, $50 million, which isn't the largest compared to some of these companies, right? But look at this. The paper notes that it bought 4,709 Bitcoins over a 24-hour period using a so-called over-the-counter broker, which specializes in large, discrete transactions, okay? Again, anyone that's purchasing a significant amount basically wants to make sure that no one else knows about it and doesn't cause a disruption and doesn't cause the price to go up. Okay, so that is how you buy Bitcoin. There's two ways to do it. Now you see the difference. Institutions are using OTC Desk, very different than exchanges. And the exchanges is really what drives things up and down at this point. And the whales that are on the exchanges, they're doing that on purpose. But look at what's actually happening behind the scenes. Yes, they could cause things to go up and down, right? By playing a lot of games, and I'm going to show you what those games are. But look at this graph, okay? When Bitcoin was coming down from 10,000 and it dropped to 3,000 something, this is where retail investors, even some people in this chat right now, this is where some people panicked because they're like, okay, something is coming up, right? And guess what happened? Well, the whales did cause things to go down, but then look at the buying volume. It increased double or triple. This is where whales are buying, right? The whales play these type of games. They want you to sell your Bitcoin to them, right? So they will cause FUD and they will cause a lot of people to sell, and they can drive things up and down. But guess what they're doing? They are actually loading up. So all these dip periods, you could see all these dips, every time there's a dip, the volume actually increases exponentially because the whales are actually buying up. This is the type of games they play. Look at these significant dips. Every time there's a significant dip, the volume actually goes up, and they are buying as much Bitcoins and as much as they can, basically, right? So according to this article pretty much explains it well. Some of the games that they play that actually they can utilize and cause fear and cause things to go up or down, right? This one explains how there was a legend of a trader called Bear Whale that put a sell order of 30,000 Bitcoins to be sold at $300, right? Basically, when he did this at the time in 2014, people panic. Remember, 2013, 2014 is when Bitcoin went to $1,200 for the first time. And he wanted to suppress the price. He wanted to cause mass panic. So he put 30,000 Bitcoin on the market and sold it at $300. Guess what that did to the market? It crashed the market. So that's one type of game that they could play, right? There's also price suppression, right? So basically, if you have a large amount of Bitcoin, you could go on exchanges and set a price that's lower than everyone else's. And you can set up a huge sell wall. That's what a sell wall is. Because when you do that, other people will follow. All the other sellers are like, okay, this guy is selling less than us, right? So what do we have to do? We have to lower our sell price too. So they could do price suppression with sell walls, right? Same thing with buy walls. They could also pump, right? We've seen this many times, not only with Bitcoin, but with altcoins, specifically with altcoins. They could definitely cause price to go up, cause FOMO, which is the reverse, right? And there's same thing. There's a buy wall. They put a bottom, right? And basically everyone that's trying to buy, they have to buy above it. So there's a lot of games that whales can play. But ultimately what they're doing is they want you to sell your Bitcoin. They want you to sell your Bitcoin because they want to accumulate, right? But this is very different than institutions that's coming in. They are buying hundreds of millions of Bitcoins behind the scenes, and they're doing it through OTC market. And they're doing it not to try to manipulate the market like the whales. They're doing it because they're holding for long haul. They have many reasons why they're doing this, right? But the biggest reason is there's just not that many Bitcoin left. Look at it. How many Bitcoins are there left? There's only 2.4 million left to be mined. Right now, there's only 900 per day. And every single institution that have announced that they are buying Bitcoin or have bought Bitcoin, they're buying way more than what is being produced right now. Just Grayscale alone, their clients, is buying like 2 or 3x more than the number of Bitcoins being mined per day. So all this that's left to be mined, this is all going to go to institutions. This is all going to go to institutions. So 88% of the supply is already issued. In existence, 18.5 million, but there's a lot that's lost. About 3 to 4 million, according to some estimates, is lost already. So the total in existence is very, very, very low. Okay? So what is this all equal to, right? So short term, there might be volatility. There might be up and downs, right? But when you hear about some of the biggest companies out there that is now FOMOing into Bitcoin, you got to believe that this is legit. This is real, right? Someone like Mass Mutual will not put their clients, their name, their reputation on the line by declaring they're buying Bitcoin if they didn't truly believe in it. They wouldn't just go on a whim and say, okay, let's just throw 100 million into Bitcoin. It wouldn't make any sense, right? And same thing with every other company that is joining in. So going back to the question, right? So why does Bitcoin dip, and why does it do so when there's good news? Well, it could be because some of these whales are trying to cause doubt, trying to cause you to think that all this is fake and this is not legit and this is just like 2017. They're trying to cause doubt. They're trying to get you to sell your Bitcoin to them. And they're, guess what they're doing? They're loading up. They're loading up behind the scenes. So, all right, hopefully that answered, this very basic and fundamental question that a lot of you guys have. So let's do some Q&A. Oh, before I get to Q&A, some of you guys may have noticed that the format is a little bit different today. So I just want to announce for you regular people that I will continue to do live sessions every day at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, but I plan on making the sessions a lot shorter. I'm going to aim for about 10 to 15 minutes on these sessions because I plan on covering one topic, right? One topic, do a little Q&A, and then throughout the day, I'm going to be doing more topic segment videos. That way, it's kind of spread out, right? Hopefully, this liven things up a little bit for those of you guys that love watching me and love watching different segments, but you don't have time to sit around for like a long 45 or hour session, right? This way, it breaks it up. It's at your convenience. So I'm going to be doing that going forward. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out. All right, let's do some quick Q&A and I'll let you guys go. Appreciate the comment, guys. I do have live replay enabled again. Some people ask me why it wasn't enabled. I tried, but YouTube, a lot of their features just get turned off or on, especially with live sessions. Not a lot of people pay attention to, so it is on. But I appreciate the feedback. I think this is even the most seasoned trader sometimes or seasoned holder asks this question because I see this even with some people that's been around for years, and they're like, why does the market go down when there's such good news, right? It's because the whales are doing what they're trying to do, and it's successful. It's causing doubt in your mind, so don't fall for it. Jay Korn asks, George, while everyone has traded BTC for XRP, first of all, that's a false statement, and very little people traded BTC for XRP. And while it's locked up for airdrop, could whales use the opportunity to scoop up tons of BTC? No, that doesn't make any sense. The number of BTC doesn't change. Oh, I think there's one thing I didn't explain well. Maybe some of you guys are confused because you might be asking or wondering, well, if all the whales are buying OTC and they're not buying exchanges, so how does that eventually help Bitcoin? Well, this explains it because there's just so many Bitcoins out there, right? In terms of total existence, this is split between the holders, the miners, right? And also split between the exchanges and also OTC desk, right? There's only so many Bitcoins. It's not like there's 18 million Bitcoins separately, like between the holders and exchanges and OTC. No, this is a combination of everything, right? So guess what happens when the OTC market dries up? Where does the Bitcoin come from? Well, it comes from the exchanges, right? So that's what's going to eventually happen, and that is what's happening. Why Bitcoin is going up is because there's just not enough. The institutions are buying everything, right? So when these large institutions go to OTC desk, and buys Bitcoin on the OTC market, if there's something there, great. Then they could buy it at a set price. But if there's not enough there, guess what happens, right? Then that carries into the exchanges. They have to pull the Bitcoin from somewhere, right? So in case I didn't explain that well, there's only a set supply. It doesn't matter where you go, there's only a set supply. So as all the Bitcoins are being gobbled up, right? the price is going to go up because it's just scarce and there's not enough to go around. I do, Edward, to answer your question, I keep all my Bitcoin. Most of it, some of it I do keep on exchanges for trading purposes, but most of it on a hardware wallet like Ledger, and it has worked out well for me. I know Ledger did have some security breaches in terms of emails, and that's why some people keep getting scam emails, right? But overall, Ledger is still a great wallet, and I do have a link in my description in case you guys are looking for one. Tube Special, appreciate that. Ever think of selling merch with phrases whalish games, whalish things? Eventually, I did have a merchant store up, but I kind of just forgotten about it. Maybe I'll bring it back when things get very, very, very hot once again. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go. Like I said, I'm gonna keep these live sessions shorter, right? I'm gonna have a lot more topic videos from now on. So maybe 2 or 3 a day. So make sure you stay tuned to all of them. And if you are new, make sure you hit the like and subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my future content. All right, guys, until next time, take care. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.